Welcome back to another episode of TNT. Rob.
Well, you're really delayed on that one, Melissa. Okay. So we have a few things that we're going to talk about today, actually. And one of the things, we just kind of want to talk a little bit about what's going on in the market, what real estate agents are doing different. Melissa, what you're doing different to help clients on the buying side and the selling side. So maybe before we get started, why don't you kind of fill us in on what's going on in the market right now? Like what's changed in the last 30 days? How is it looking going forward?
Sure, it's definitely interesting because, now more than ever, I keep up every day sort of with realtors around locally and what are they doing, what's happening. And others agree with me as well that we can really start to feel a shift. And when I say a shift, don't think an earthquake. I mean a shift to where people are more open to hearing about real estate, hearing about buying and selling as a potential option, either for them or in the future, which is good because 6 weeks ago, people had their hands up with real estate. Like they didn't want to hear it. They were in protection mode, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So now we're seeing a shift. I mean, I just took another listing on the weekend for a condo up in Barrie. That situation is that person is in the position where they need to sell, right? But so we are seeing more listings. Now, keep in mind, and I said this, when I'm not trying to falsely give hope, we're dealing in incremental shifts at this point, and we are seeing those shifts. We are still, we're 80% down, they said in April from last April in number of listings sold. Now that makes sense for a lot of reasons. So we're coming from that position, but it's nice to start to see a little bit of movement. And I think you as well have started to see a little bit more movement. And that movement sometimes is just people talking about it, right? Are willing to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So it's become really important for me in my business. Like the number one concern for everybody is safety, like that's number one on everyone's track record or like mindset. So when it's pretty intimate selling and buying real estate, right? Like you never mind the financials and that intimacy, but I mean physical intimacy. You're showing houses, you're talking, you're transacting. So we've had to sort of reform what that looks like. And a lot of people, and including myself, have done that really well by going virtual. We have COVID forms for every person involved in the transaction. When I say COVID forms, I mean they're filling them out with all of their personal information. They have to before they do a showing or they get into a house. Also for the realtors, we have to fill those out as well. Any third party that comes into the home, like an inspector, right? If we get an inspector in there, they have to fill out these COVID forms, and it's our responsibility to follow up. So we've got that sort of layer of protection for the clients. But what I've just started doing, and I love it because it gives peace of mind to the buyer in a transaction, and to the seller, it gives them peace of mind and sort of a protection where this is what it is. So the house is for sale, the house sells, right? The seller leaves. Now in between where the seller vacates and the buyer takes occupancy, for my business, I'm paying for a professional cleaner to go in and clean like every speck of dirt from the house, step one.
Mm-hmm.
Two is it's a certified company that can go in there, and it's an enzyme that they use, and it stops, it bans, it does not allow COVID to grow when this enzyme is present, right? So it takes away whatever it is that creates COVID to grow. And we do that cleaning. It's pricey, like it's like $1.25 a square foot, but it's worth it for peace of mind. So now that buyer knows, okay, if I buy this house, right, whoever the seller is, when I go in there, I do not have to have that worry. I'm starting on a fresh slate. So I think that's really crucial. And I will not be surprised to see that this become mandatory as we move forward in some way or other, or definitely that the buyers are going to be looking for this because it's something that's available. There is a cost associated, but for me in my business, it's well worth it, to give that safety and peace of mind. So it's very interesting to see how things are changing and really accommodating how we can keep things safe, right? Even despite this virus.
Yeah, so things are definitely moving on, and you're definitely, yeah, like the cleaning thing's a fantastic idea. Like I'm sure there's going to be more realtors picking up on that. And we're not just talking about a quick cleaner going in and doing a vacuum. This is a complete sanitize of everything from doorknobs to handles to countertops to the whole bit.
Every little thing. They go in a hazmat suit with the masks, and they get into every crevice. Like it's yeah, I think it's fantastic. Actually, really do.
I should get them in here just to do my house now.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'm kind of missing my cleaner. Louise, shout out to you.
Another shout out there. Yeah, we could use a cleaner. So anything else that's changed in the market going forward? Like, what do you think in the next, like we are starting to see a little bit more activity. I'm definitely getting a few more calls now, which has been great. So people are starting to think about it. Unfortunately, there's people out there too that are in a position where they don't have a choice and have to think about it.
And I think that's coming to light too. A lot more people, before it was all about maintaining, right? Maintaining the lifestyle that they had, maintaining what they had. And I think after, especially I'm sorry, but I'm going to say kind of like a debacle with the deferment and how that was laid out and set up, not by the government, but with the 6 big banks. It's backed some people into a corner where now they're looking at that as a potential option. Like if they can't refinance and they're not in that position, they may have to sell and downsize or rent, right? Like that's just the reality.
We're definitely going to see the aftermath of that one in the next probably 3 to 6 months for sure, right? I don't think a lot of people realized what they've signed into or done their homework, but
yeah.
And sometimes some people just didn't have a choice. Like that's the other thing too, right? So they're going to have to come back and look at either refinancing or selling or downsizing or, the way I kind of look at this here, and this is something, and if anybody out there is listening and they're thinking, okay, I'm in that position where I have to do something or downsize or money situation, this is not about the sale of your house. This is about the solution, about either how to keep your house or how do I get back into another one when this is all over. And that I think needs to be the main focus. It's about, okay, how do I get back on my feet? The problem we can solve. That's easy enough. It might not be what everybody wants to hear or wants to see, but the solution needs to be better. There needs to be an end game to this. And, I don't want anybody to think, hey, I have to sell my house to get out. I want people to think, okay, if I got to sell my house to get out, how am I going to get back into the market again? And
that is a fantastic point. I'm so glad you brought that up, because now more than ever, I mean, it's a lot more strategic discussion that goes on, and that's what it is. And trying to keep in mind that this isn't about, I mean, if you've got a good realtor, they're not looking at, okay, I want to sell your house because I want to feed my family. That isn't what this is about at all. It's about how to help people, like exactly what you said, get to the best place they can be in this situation. And then what, right?
Yeah, you can't just end with the transaction. And I hope a lot of guys aren't going out there thinking that this is going to be a transaction and let's move on to the next. This is something now where, your realtor and your mortgage broker and all the people that are there to help you are there for the long term and not the short. Like I think it's important that people understand that advice is out there and
well,
look at a proper plan. Right?
Put it this way, if a realtor comes and you're talking to a realtor and they're not bringing up these things, and they're not the right realtor in this situation, honestly, like
or a discount, or I'm going to do this, right? This is not the time for that. The time for this is now, but okay, how are we going to fix the problem? Let's get to the solution and let's work the solution first. So let's bring this up on a good note. So you were talking to Ralph Herman, who won the Lazy Daisy Cafe on Saturday.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And you were talking to him and he mentioned he wanted to do something with his winnings. So why don't we bring that on?
He does. This is for our Love 19 challenge. So if any of you are not yet registered to win, Rob and I have got together and we are buying $50 gift cards from 38 small businesses, 19 in Georgina, 19 in Newmarket. And we do a draw every Saturday and Wednesday so that you all can win these gift cards and either use them now. Some of the businesses do have limited services offered now, or can save it and be there, be at their door when they're opening, because man, oh man, the stories I hear of these small businesses, they're really suffering. But so this was fantastic. So Ralph Herman, if anyone doesn't know him, he happens to own Ralph's Barbershop here in Georgina. So he had registered for the draw, he won, and of course he wanted to pass it forward. His wife is a PSW at Cedar Home, so he wanted to pass it on to a PSW. So today on Facebook, I'm going to be asking for nominations for PSWs so we can honor that for Ralph and pass that on. And we'll do that on Wednesday's draw when we've got Elpida in Georgina and the Goulash House in Newmarket as well. So it is so amazing. I mean, Ralph is a small business. You know, we're doing this to support businesses like him. And then he wins and he wants to pay it forward. The heart that so many people have is amazing. And it really is coming out. You know?
Oh, it is fantastic. Like, you're seeing more small businesses step up, and really it should be us stepping up for small businesses, right? They're feeling the pinch, and yet they're the first ones on the front line for the community. And I think a lot of people forget that. And we talk about health workers and all the essentials, which are great. But you know what? There's a lot of other people in the background that aren't necessarily essentials that are also stepping up that don't get the recognition that they deserve.
That's right.
Example of something like that.
Bob's Flowers in Georgina, he was one of our first businesses. They're opening tomorrow. They're excited because they've got like a whack of flowers coming in, hoping to satisfy everyone for Mother's Day. So it's exciting to see the evolution, you know, of some of the services. But
starting to come back. So I think that's it for this week. But I look forward to next week. So if you're ready, we can TNT.
And we'll see you at the draw on Wednesday. Ready?
Definitely.
Out.
Out we go.